Instagram. Okay, so we are live. Let me go live on Instagram. This is what takes a little bit longer. I think we are good. Welcome. Thank you, everybody that is watching this as a replay. I am so excited and honored to have here today Hunt Hetrich. Hunt is an award-winning dating and relationship expert. He is a matchmaker. He is a writer, an entrepreneur. He also writes columns for some of the best, if not the best, dating sites in the States. He just came back from a call in Saudi Arabia, so now he's famous over there too. He has been doing this for a long time. I don't want to age him, so I'm not going to say, but a long time. He knows, I know, but you still have all your hair. That's the best. And what else I wanted to say about you? Oh, that he's a loving, devoted husband and father of 2 girls. Is that right?
Yep.
And overall, as he wrote down on his LinkedIn page, a swell guy. And I think there is no better way to describe you, Han. You are a swell guy. You're so
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you for being here.
I always love chatting with you, so it's good to be here.
Thank you. I am so excited. You have no idea how excited I am to have you because you are, number one, you are a super expert in all things love, dating, relationship. You have been around, you are still up to date, you are learning. You are such a wealth of knowledge and experience.
Thank you.
And you live in a big area and big city, New York, which is huge for dating. So, and I wanted you to talk a little bit about the dating apps dynamics. I am having some issues. Last year, 2024, the biggest issue I had with my clients, I coach women, was the fact that they were getting on the dating apps, but they weren't really finding guys that they were attracted to. So, is this something that you see a lot? What can you say about this?
Yes. Well, as you know, anything in this realm, we can show an exception to every rule. So many of what much we're going to talk about is, mostly or overgeneralizing and oversimplifying a little bit. What I have found, or it takes 2 parts for matchmaking in love: the type of person, or the person that you are interested in, and if that person reciprocates and is interested in you. For example, 70-year-old guys are interested in 25-year-old women. 25-year-old women are not interested in 75-year-old guys. So you have to find where these Venn diagrams overlap when you're doing a lot of matchmaking, and when the landscape changes, it can change these things as well too. And many people don't like to admit when they change the size of the pond that they are in. If you are 25 and beautiful and in a small town, you are a big fish in a small pond. If you are older and in a big city, you are a small fish in a huge pond. And that takes a little bit of mental juggling to feel what your own self-worth is. And I think a lot of people tie their ego and their self-worth to dating, which can be dangerous. For instance, there's a phrase called heteronormative. Heteronormative means dressing your baby, like your boy in blue, dressing your girls in pink. You just kind of ascribe to quote unquote gender roles, Yeah. Now, recently, like last 20 years, women have been crushing the heteronormative behaviors of the glass ceiling, of being bosses, working, things like that. It's great, should be applauded, etc. However, and I am oversimplifying, I found women really, really, really hard to let go of the heteronormative behavior of dating up, or at least even equal. Even the word equal is tainted, because what is equal? equal in how. 30 years ago, men didn't necessarily say, my secretary that I'm going to marry, I need her to also be the same education as me, the same level as me, be able to talk business with me, be able to talk sports with me. In those days, you didn't expect that. You looked for someone that was a complementary fit. If you wanted to talk business, you went to the union hall. If you wanted to shoot pool, you went down and you talked to your boys down at the bar. If you needed to talk about intelligent things or business things, you would go to networking, things like that. It wasn't expected. And now I hear from a lot of clients, many times the female clients, that they want all of this together.
Yeah.
And it is really hard to find that. And so when I talk to people that say that there's nobody out there that they find attractive, or that they want to be with, without being mean, I say, well, remember, there's only a smaller amount of people that want to be with you. But what I try to do is try to get them to open their parameters by showing them what the playing field is like, by describing to them what good, healthy relationships can be, and that they don't need to be what their mom told them that they needed to have, or what Disney told them that they needed to have. And so trying to get people to get into that mind switch can be challenging, because you've been told your whole life by the media and your family that one way is going to work for you. Perfect 10 is going to swoop in and grab you off your feet, no work on your behalf. And when it doesn't happen, that's where the jaded and bitterness and cynicism start to creep in. And then when you've come to me, my job isn't necessarily to find you the right person. It's to get you back into the right headspace for approaching dating as a joyful process. Because even if I introduce you to your prince, say, you're in this closed off, bitter headspace and may not be able to earn him if he walks through the door. So it is a delicate and challenging world out there sometimes.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for being so articulated and expressing it in such a beautiful way. I love it. I love it. And yes, it's challenging. It's challenging for them. And I will talk for me particularly. It's challenging for me because these beautiful women, they come to us with the message of don't settle, don't settle, don't settle. So it's this very yucky place where I find myself sometimes, where I don't want to tell them to settle because I don't want them to settle, but also
life is settling. Settling is just another word for compromise, but it does have this nasty taint to the name.
And it seems like the more they wait, the longer they wait, the more restrictive they are with who they want to even meet for coffee. I mean, it's so interesting. Like, well, if I have been waiting 10 years already, and I'm not gonna settle for a guy that is not fit and looks like I find him very, very attractive. And what I found through my own experience of going on 200 dates in 2 years, 200 first dates in 2 years, is that most guys are not attractive. You, Hunt, are an attractive guy. I mean, with the respect of your wife.
Thank you so much. I very much appreciate that.
We can say that. But most guys are not attractive. What do you have to say to that?
I saw a comedian recently, a female comedian, online, but she was like, I may not look it, but I like guys. Like, I'm attracted to guys. However, I don't find guys attractive. And, she just starts pointing out in the audience, like, shows a woman dressed up so nice, shows the guys like,
right,
jean shorts and a hat on backwards and unshaven. And, that is true. Now, in a former life, I was a fashion editor for a glossy magazine. So I'm all New York Fashion Week, and that was a huge part of my life. So I go ahead.
No, how fantastic! I don't want to interrupt you, but I also want to show that I'm alive and listening.
Yes, it was so much fun too. I still love fashion. My first job was 9 years old. I was a kid model. So that's how I kind of got into the world. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, you see, when I say you are attractive, I'm in
Hold
the right.
on. I can make it worth your while here for people that can actually see. Mm-hmm.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Kind of
There's
the bottom?
those are my brothers. Let's see. There's me, right, front and
Oh,
center there in the red vest.
oh,
My two brothers are in the bottom right. Those are my brothers Barrett and Chad too. So those were the days of the kid modeling.
congratulations.
Thank you. But so I understand the power of image and how you can look. And I also know that what something is and what it can be perceived as can be very, very different, AKA makeup and women, and that is fine. That is part of life. So I understand the value of looking good. Yeah. Dude, I got so sick of doing all these things with all of you beautiful women that I had to go find like concealer for my like baby bags under here.
Wow.
Turns out I have a little bit of olive in my skin tone. Important. Anyways, I didn't want to look like ghosty paste with all you beautiful ladies that I'm talking to. So, but back to the men and stuff. It is. Men don't understand the value and the power that a few easy things have: fashion and grooming. It's just I can't underestimate or overstate even how much it matters. If you are in an outfit that fits you well. Most guys have never been in an outfit that fits them correctly because most clothing is shot for the middle, and someone's going to have a little bit larger arms or bigger chest or deeper groin than others. So, but once you can get that, an actual fit to you, women will drop dead at a well-tailored, well-dressed man, and well-groomed as well too. And so many guys are like, oh, I'm just so ugly, I never get women, I'm short and fat and women don't like that. I'm like, dude, Billy Joel was not necessarily considered the most classically attractive dude that ever existed. He was short, curly, dark hair, and he married Christina Brinkley, who was the hottest supermodel of the 80s. And you're like, well, yeah, because he's like Billy Joel. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Like, there's so much. If a woman thinks your personality is a 10 out of 10, she's going to think that you looks are 10 out of 10. Right. However, all of this, I say that women and men are presence. What is inside is the most important thing, but it's the gift wrap that's going to attract us to the present in the first place. Many of us have seen beautiful gift wrapping and opened it and it's just empty inside. And likewise, if there's gold inside, but it's wrapped in dirty newspaper, no one is going to take the time to find that out. So the onus does come on to the dater. I teach that there are 4 tenets, at least for my men, to work on. An image is one of them, because the world looks at you and tries to figure out who you are and immediately starts putting you in boxes, because people like to do that, basically. And if you're just, because people need to categorize things. And if you're just beige and blah and gray, that's what they're going to assume your personality is, right or wrong. And this is something I actually learned in my script writing degree, is the exterior world mirrors the interior world. In movies, if it was a dark and stormy night, it's not going to be a light romantic comedy. They're setting the scene. And the way that I describe this to my clients is like, if you see a woman in a red dress, is she shy? No. Okay, we can probably start to associate some other things, personality traits, solely based on one simple data point, the color of her outfit. And so, I try to tell the men that it's not just, oh, he looks good. It's, oh, this means he cares about himself. He values himself. He's studied. So he learned a little bit. He has some sort of emotional intelligence about how he's supposed to fit and present himself in this world, and values how he's going to look or appear to someone else. So there's multiple things simply that shows. But here's the thing, up until 20 years ago, men didn't have to have a personality. And so this is a whole new thing. Obviously. Go ahead.
Tell us more about that. How come men didn't have to have a personality?
Well,
the provider was enough?
Yes, basically. Again, I am overgeneralizing and making stupid points
Yes,
to make a point.
you for
In the
saying
1950s, even if you beat your wife and kids, if you provided for them, you were a good man. You know, obviously you weren't because no one knows what's going on, but all
that.
you needed to do for society's sake was to do one thing, just provide. You did, that's it. And so there's a lot of leeway. Well, it's obviously because women couldn't own credit cards and they need to be financially independent and, you know, yada, yada, yada. It's a whole other conversation. Now, men are finding they aren't the providers, the financial providers anymore, and they have no idea what their role is. They
Right.
don't know that they sort of need to have a personality now because women can choose. Now women can choose, you know? And so now this makes them angry that they have to work, which creates this spiral of vitriol and, you know, sit in their mom's basement and write stuff online and turn into an incel and think that women are resources that they are deserved and not earned. And so, and honestly, this is not a popular opinion, but since history, basically only about 50% of men's genes get passed on. That's natural selection.
Okay.
And when you have been told that you can have everything, anything, and then you can't, where does that leave you? It either leaves you saying to your head that it is your fault, which is where people don't usually like to go in their brain, because that means that they have to address that, face it, better themselves, heaven forbid.
Right.
Instead, they say it's got to be the fault of the other, whatever now the other is the woman. And you see the backlash politically, you know, as men don't understand. Men are in a crisis right now. They don't understand what their place is, and no one's telling them. And you know, it's interesting. Let me be the first to say, I don't know if we can swear here, but men fucked it up. You know, the patriarchy messed it up. Now we're trying to unfuck it. So I don't want to, in any sort of a way, put any negativity to women and their achievements. They should be celebrated. It's just that men are floundering right now, and in order to make women happy, I think we need to have a little bit more focus on making the men happy, so that the women don't have to be the sole emotional support system for a person. Because that's the thing too, is guys don't have a support system, so they don't have emotional intelligence. They can't bounce things off. They don't feel good about themselves, and then they find a woman and they put all of their hopes and dreams or emotions onto them, and you know, that can cause people to pull back. So there's so many little factors here that are making it challenging.
Yes, for sure, it's very challenging for both sexes, and I think also you said men don't have where to go for ideas, and I actually think there is a big movement, and there is like $1 billion industry on YouTube and TikTok and everywhere on social media about the red pill advice for men, which is actually making them angry and making them hate women. Oh, what is that? Yeah, I saw that.
I'm just holding up a study right now. I'm a study junkie. Look at all the notes. I just put
nice.
a directed qualitative analysis of dark triad outcomes in women's relationships with red pill men. Yeah.
Do you have anything to share about that, or you haven't?
How much time do you have?
Oh my God.
Tell me where you would like to devote your time and energy towards.
40 minutes. Well, what is that about? It's about what I was saying, how...
Yes. Here's the thing. In a void, the loudest voice will be heard. And sort of right now, there is a void on how men are supposed to be. And Andrew Tate, Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, Trump are filling that void with noise. Noise is better than silence. Also, this is something that I read after the most recent election, and it stuck with me, and I'm pulling it apart, is that men would rather be around people that they absolutely disagree with politically 100%, that does not judge them, rather than someone that they may politically align with perfectly, but if they feel that they're being told that they're the problem, that's going to happen. And, I have a friend, a colleague, it's a Trumper, Russian, all of that kind of stuff. And she and I get drunk together and talk about building wood. And I don't ever feel judged by her.
Right.
But if I'm with a fictitious, hypothetical, blue-haired lesbian, of which I agree with almost every political point that they're on, I'm not going to want to spend time if I'm being lectured on my role as a man in society. Right. This isn't a simple fix. It's just saying that, so yes, I find it's so attractive, it's a cult, it's love bombing. When you're told you matter, I love you, it's not your fault. That is insanely powerful. And when you have these men that feel lost, and the thing is, a lot of their advice starts off not incorrect. Let's work out a bit. Let's get in shape. Let's build your confidence. Let's start dressing better. And they make sense to these boys that they're watching. And then it just slowly starts to go left of center. It's not your fault. Don't worry about it.
Right.
It's them. It's their fault. And so one of my concerted efforts right now is to try anything that I can do with other men on the other side to show men a pathway how to be a man that doesn't involve denigrating women or listening to any of those jackasses. And
that's wonderful.
It's challenging because it's much easier to use inflammatory lies to be entertaining.
It's not only easier, sorry to interrupt you. I think these people, like you said, I think they do start with a good intention because their original message makes sense and is healthy. I think they do start with a good intention. The problem that I think they have is that nobody will ever go against money. And when they post something that is inflational, is inflammatory, and it's very controversial, and it gets millions of views, and their bank accounts start to collect all that money, they keep going that direction. That's the problem, is that I believe social media started as a way originally for everybody, for all of us to share our voice. And now it's not that anymore. Now it's about making money. And when you add money to the equation, people are going to start to make content that keeps getting them money, that's why I think.
Well, now you're going back to the dating apps too.
Right. Okay, let's get it back to the dating app. What about that? Tell me. I have no idea how you are connecting those.
What's the goal of Tinder?
Making money.
See, right there. That's it. It's extracting wealth from you, the user. That is the goal of Tinder.
Yes.
Which is a fine business goal.
Right.
But they talk out of the side of their mouth and say, our business is finding you love. It's not. And not all, but all of the other apps are the same way. If they were really good at their job and got you off their product in a month, they would lose money. Right. If they had a really crappy product and it was janky to use, they would lose you and your money. So they actively shoot to have a middling okay experience because they want you to stay on for 3 months till you get frustrated, leave that one and join another one that is owned by the same company, because there's only 2 companies that own everything. Basically the Match Group and the eHarmony Group. And there's a couple other little, ones by themselves. But for instance, you go on Match, don't have a good time, go on Tinder, don't have a good time, go on OkCupid. You've just paid triple to the same company, which is exactly what they want. They don't want you to find love. And so I think that's messing with, they actively make you sadder. All sorts of evidence and studies point to this, because we're getting what we ask for, which is what we want and not what we need. Yes, if I'm shopping, I'm going to be like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And while we were talking, there's an AI dating app calculator. if you're a woman and you're looking for a man that may or may not want kids, 22 to 42, 5'8" to 6'4", that makes $150,000 a year. You don't care about ethnicity, don't care about hair color, don't care about eye color, don't care about education, don't care about religion, don't care about drinking. Make sure he's single and that he's not obese. It sounds like, okay, like I have a really wide range, right? 0.45% of men will meet that.
Wow.
0.45. So
Great. Thank you for saying that, because ladies, they don't know. They don't know. They think they're going to go online and they're going to meet a great, attractive guy that's going to be in shape. And it's just not reality. Reality, I think the numbers is 50% of Americans are obese. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. I go to the supermarket and people stop me and say, "You are not from here." And I'm like, "No, how you know?" "The way you look." That's
and
what
dress.
they tell me. Well, yes. But
I'm married to a Latina. Latinas dress a certain way until they die. And even then, in the coffin, they're looking good. So
I love it. I love it. Thank you for being here, Hans. You're such a treasure.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, no, I think that's
so much. I really hope this video gets watched by so many people, because thank you for watching. If you are watching, and let us know your questions, like I'll share them with Hans in the future. Where can they find you? Let's talk about that right now before it gets too long. Where can they find you if they want to talk with you or get to know your work?
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Quest for Advice. I tried to get Hunt for Advice, but it was taken by someone else. That someone else was me.
What?
But I couldn't prove that it was me that made it, so I couldn't be it,
Oh my goodness.
So I'll be Quest for Advice, which is fine because I am on a quest, actually, to talk to one person in every country on the planet about what dating and relationships are like in their area. I intend to be the greatest dating expert on the planet and the first one to talk to someone in every country. So it's a quest with a capital Q. You can also, I do a lot of work on LinkedIn, and so you can come find me there. And luckily, I have been doing this for over 15 years and I have a fairly unique name. So if you Google me, you'll just get 10 pages of me. So you can see videos and read advice and see if you like my voice. And if you do, I would love to help you, because we all deserve to be happy. And we're social creatures. And I don't care what anyone says. Everyone wants to have someone by their side. They may want someone that has unrealistic expectations, but life is always better shared.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I always said, I thank God that even though my first marriage ended up in a divorce, I'm so glad he pushed me to marry him, because I didn't want to get married. I was like early 30s and I never wanted to get married or have kids. That wasn't my thing. I wanted to be free and travel the world. I don't know. But then when I got married, I discovered how much I liked it. I loved it. So when I got divorced, I said, I'm going to get married again, but this time I'm going to do it right.
People think they're losing things, but you gain so much too.
And I think, the whole thing, men want the sex and women want the relationship, the connection, the typical thing. I think men have so much more to win in a marriage than women. I think if there is somebody that is, so they should be pushing for marriage.
They should. Here's the thing, though. They can't earn them anymore. Those ones that want marriage, they feel iced out because, for instance, there are certain markers that we have used for being a man or being an adult, if you will. Career, if not stable job, you own your car, you own your house, you have you're looked up to in your circle. Most of these are just completely out of reach for people right now. And so when you take away everything that someone has told you to be a man and you don't have it, you don't know what to bring to the table at all. And women haven't quite, obviously overgeneralizing, women haven't quite figured out how to talk about these things without accidentally emasculating men sometimes. Men have fragile egos, and it's up to them to not let every little prick, pun intended, annoy you. But it's also helpful to understand where some of this is coming from. For instance, men in this country will be the first time in 250 years that we're projected to do less well than our fathers. And for men especially, we've been taught to build. You build whatever you're born on, you build that for the next generation so that they can build on that. They can build on that. That's a fundamental part of society. And when that's taken away, it immediately creates a whole ton of internalized shame for men because they feel they're a failure because they can't meet up to society's standards. So when you just start under feeling the shame, feeling like you don't have anything to offer, and then kind of tentatively try to go out there, and because everyone's social muscles have atrophied, you get rejected. And then I don't know which other studies I have here, but when men are rejected romantically, they turn to the right. They start wanting to take rights away from immigrants and women and all sorts of stuff. Yes, they get rage, and more so than women do. And then that turns into online bullying, and then they find these echo chambers and online, and go red pill and stuff like that as well too. And so, yeah, it's challenging. If, again, oversimplifying, right now in New York City, it's 5 women to every 3 guys. Okay. Oh. So if you, again, just oversimplify, you go out, you're a good woman, you see 2 good dudes, you want to go chat with them. There are 3 hoochie mamas in front of you.
Right.
That you've got to try to get through, and men, being ever simpler creatures, sometimes get focused on the hoochie mamas and don't see the good woman back there. So what does the good woman say? Well, I have to compete with this. I have to dress that way. I have to act that way in order to get this attention. Here's the thing, though. There's a big caveat on that. It's only 5 to 3 if you're talking about college education. If you're not, it's 50-50.
Okay.
So when I hear women say there are no good men left, like, what's your definition of a good man?
Right.
Because that's, like you hear sometimes too, high value men, that phrase too, like.
I use it all the time. Yeah. And I'm talking about character traits, but
right. They're not.
It's a lot to do with status and
this is
how resourceful the man is.
I ask my women specific, like, men just want a woman, any woman, to love them. That's it. Again, oversimplified. Women sometimes have a longer list of things, but the thing that I ask most of my women, and I say, I don't want you to answer this, but I want you to think about this. What do you want? Yeah, it's kind of pithy, and women don't know what they want, but it's a very serious question. Do you want trust? Do you want a family? Do you want marriage? Do you want an equal? Do you want compatibility? Do you want a partner? Do you want rock hard abs? Do you want a big house? You can't get all of these together. And that's what the women think, though. They'll find somebody that has all of these things. But if you can tell me what you want first, most of anything, then we can start to work backwards and cycle out from it. If you've been hurt and you think trust is the most important thing, that's great. We'll get you trust. They might not out-earn you. Are you okay with that? If you told me trust, then we're going to work on trust. And you need to shut the fuck up about all the rest of the stuff. But again, it's hard to take this out of your head when you've been told that you're going to get it.
That's so aligned with my coaching. I tell them you just need to want a couple of things and focus on that. That's what successful, happily married women do. You can't have it all. You can't. But
you've been taught you have. You've been taught that you can.
Your mom, your friends, people making money off you, they are telling them that. They're feeding that fantasy. And, it just breaks my heart because it's just very hard for them to let it go. They try. Yeah. I know they try.
Yep.
I say, show me the picture of the guy that is so ugly. And I'm like, what is wrong with that guy? There is nothing wrong with that guy. I know it's not my type. And I'm like, oh, God.
Your type right now is who likes you. We're going to start with that, you know, and work backwards from there too. And yes, I think people are too, we're in dating is disposable. I'm not going to put any time and effort into this person because I don't see an immediate, you know, boom. And also I think that especially women of a certain age, the older anybody gets, but if we're talking women specifically right now, start to put all their hopes and dreams on that person in the first date.
I know.
The first date is just to see if there's some chemistry and to have fun.
Right.
Fun. It is not to sit down and go through a list of what their ex-husband did wrong and can you provide the right side of it too. And I understand because you start to learn at a certain age what you do want and what you don't want, but you have to understand. See, I have this written down right here. There are 4 things a relationship has to go through. It has to go through the social aspect of it. Oh, nice to meet you. Who are you? Oh, I see you. The connection, like, oh, you grew up in Tulsa. I grew up in Tulsa. Where, you know, north or south. Comfort, like, I enjoy spending time with you. We can be quiet and it's not uncomfortable. And then, of course, down to intimacy, which is, you know, the wonderful parts of the relationship. And I found, especially people that are in relationships, want to jump into the second half of these immediately because that's the funner part. But you have to go through these stages to start building trust and foundations and chemistry and things like that as well too. People just want instant gratification and always think the grass is going to be greener on the other side, and it creates challenges.
Right. It's the dating apps and social media is just not helping. It's not helping. And I think that's why, you know, marriages are failing so dramatically. Younger people don't want to date. And, you know, I feel so bad. And then another thing that I see with my clients, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, that when they're under 20s, they are coming from, you know, they went to college and then they got a good job and they have money, independence, they travel, they go party, they have friends and all that. So, oh, it's not the right time right now. I'm going to travel and see the world and blah, blah, blah. And then one day they wake up when they're close to 30 saying, okay, now I'm ready. And they completely overestimate the time it's going to take them to find somebody. It can take years. Mostly the more, you know, bullet points they have, the longer it's going to take. So I think that is so sad as well, that there is no, that's why I want to have these deep conversations with people like you, because I feel so bad telling my clients these things. I feel like I'm being over and I am bursting the bubbles.
I agree too. And I'll give one tip to the ladies out there. If they're dating, if they, one, find a complimentary person, no matter how much they earn, as long as they can take care of themselves and you're not forced to take care of them. But here's the thing, if a man doesn't feel that he's providing financially, we are providers, we're fixers, we want to fix a problem. Tell us what we are providing. Why are you with us? As an example, back when I was dating my wife, or maybe we were engaged just at that point, not married yet, but she was out with her girlfriends and for a girls' night, and she comes in the door rolling in hot, and I'm sitting on the couch playing video games, stoned in my bathrobe, probably like unshaven, and I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, looking hot. And she just kind of comes and like grabs me and gives me this huge hug and tackles me. I'm like, hey, like, hi, like, what's up? She's like, oh my God, I was out with my girlfriends and they're just all complaining about like their husbands and their boyfriends. And it came around to me and I'm like, yeah, he doesn't shower as much as I would like, because I didn't have anything to say because I love you so much. And every time I come home, it just makes me so happy to know that you're here and that you're with me. And it just makes my life so much better. Boom. Now I know what I'm doing here. Now I know why I'm here. Because yeah, my wife out earns me too. Why? Because I'm attracted to powerful women. But you also have, if you are, then you've got to learn how to earn one. And that's the thing that I think people, you know, a thing that again, the second question that I ask people not to answer, but to think about is, if your Apollo, your Aphrodite walked in right now, would you be able to earn them? What do you have? over everybody in this room that is going to make them want to talk to you. If we want to go cold, what is your competitive advantage? And I don't want them to answer, but I want them to think about it, because if you don't have anything to bring to the table, why would I talk to you? Why, like, what did you do this weekend? Like, hey, nice to meet you. What did you do this weekend? Oh, I watched some Netflix and cleaned my house. All right, I'm just going to go elsewhere.
Right.
And I've had women break down crying when I've tried to help them with this. It's like, what I hear is that I'm not good enough, and that I have to change everything about myself, and no one will like me the way I am, and that I like who I am. I like this. I like who I am, and I don't want to change. And it's like, I understand what she was hearing, but to anybody, if you want something to change, you have to change things. That's how chaos works. And this was a woman that was a 40-year-old virgin too. So it's not like she had a lot of legs to stand on. I was trying to do my best.
Wow.
But again, sometimes you just can't get through to people, and they don't understand that you're just trying to help. It's easier for them to think that it's one reason than it is to go into their own head and unpack everything in there.
Right. I know it's hard to say those things, and it's not that if somebody doesn't want to change and it's very comfortable where he or she is and all that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But there has to be an understanding and an acceptance that, you are going to attract somebody. I think there is somebody for everybody. Honestly, I think so. But it possibly is not going to be that high value 10% of the population guy that you're going after. I mean, it's just not going to happen, because that guy has a lot of options.
Yeah. And he may be type A. He might be an a-hole. He might be married. He might be gay. He might be all of the above.
Yes.
But yeah, you're competing against everyone.
Yes. Every single woman wants that 10%, and that 10%, they don't all want to get married and have babies. So I think it's pretty much a 1%.
You know what I do in situations like this too? If you have someone that says that you can feel that they're unrealistic a bit, I ask them, bring in 3 pictures of a celebrity look-alike, somebody famous that you would like, that you think looks like what you would like to date. Okay? Then I bring them in, I put them down and say, okay, now let's Google what their girlfriends look like. Okay, let's Google every person that each of them have dated. I am not saying anything about them right now. So their defenses, we're just simply man or woman, because you got men that are like, I want the hot one. Like, great, let's look at all of her past boyfriends. Like, here's Dolph Lundgren. Here's like, oh, yeah, like, so, in the nicest way possible. I'm like, okay, so if these are the types of people that they are dating, what do you think you can do to catch their attention?
Right.
And, and you hope that they start to get a little bit of more self-realization. And like, dude, you want the hot one? It's doable. It's eminently doable. You just got to be the type of person that's going to fill her needs. You got to improve yourself. You got to be interesting. And, that's, guys don't want to work for it. They don't want to improve themselves. They just want it.
So to close it up, thank you so much. Thank you. To close it up, what else could you say about so what is left to do for these women that are online dating and they are not finding men that are attractive? What is, in a nutshell, what do you have anything that you could say to them? Yes.
Okay, so this is what I say. Hopefully it's heard, because you have to figure out how to say things in the way that it's heard. But let's go back to this 3-letter word that I was using, fun. Okay, what happens to your body language when you are having fun? You open up, you smile, the energy level comes up, your eyes sparkle, your volume of your voice comes up, you start talking faster, more energetic. This is the best version of you. This is the version you want other people to see. So all of us, I call it reconnecting with fun. You have to go somewhere where you are having fun. If it's a woodworking club, if it's a knitting circle, you have to go out into the world. Okay.
Right.
And maybe you're in a woodworking class and you're like, there's no dudes in this that I would date at all. That's fine, because every single person in there has brothers, coworkers, and friends. And if this is your fun space, they're going to be like, oh man, bro, you got to meet my friend Natalia. She's in my woodworking class. She's so fun and energetic and cool. I think you guys will definitely hit it off. Now you have a whole group of allies that are trying to help you because they see the wonderfulness that you are.
Right.
And so one of the questions I do and ask for answers to is like, when was the last time you did something fun just for fun's sake? Not to do something or to achieve something or to build something or even to meet someone, but just because it was fun for you. And it's usually just crickets. You just, so even for all of my clients, I actually buy every person a set of Legos. Because it's one, I think we don't treat ourselves to things that are non-productive many times, but we don't realize that is productive because it's a form of meditation. You put everything down, you put your phone down, you create something in front of you that you can see your abilities to grow this thing that you're working on. And that affects confidence, power, your self-worth in small ways. But you start bring all these little skill sets and add them together, and it starts to transform you into someone that does see life a little bit warmer, that does believe that love is out there, that does understand that the partner may not be the one that they envisioned in their head. And so go somewhere that you are having fun. Fun is not trivial. Even if it's on a date, don't do the dinner dates. I could spend 20 minutes talking about why that's a bad idea, but I will just say don't for the beginning parts and do an activity date. Socrates says I can learn more about a man in an hour of play than in a lifetime of conversation. All right. Men also aren't the best conversationalists, and they're stuck. Men are meant to sort of like break things and get their body boy energy, And so if you do an activity that you like, that you have fun doing, I now see this best version of you. I see the person. Now I want to make you happy. Now I want to be part of what makes you happy and bring this out. And even if the date sucked, what did you have? Fun. And those gray old cobwebs in here are getting brushed out, and they're getting replaced with shiny golden cobwebs. And now people ask you, what'd you do this weekend? I went on this really fun nature walk. You don't have to tell them it was a busted date, but you had fun. You're now talking about it. You're exciting and you're more interesting because I want to know about what makes you drive and why this is fun for you. And so all of this, comes back to itself. Like, you can use the apps as a tool, but it's like a hammer. If you use it wrong, it can destroy everything around you. So you have to be cognizant of the fact that it is only a tool, and that you do in fact need to go back out into the real world. And here's one particular thing that I've noticed about my clients is that, for all of the reasons, once women go through puberty, they learn to keep men a bit at a distance, right? If they see someone they like, they've learned to open up the gates kind of and like let the person in. But for the most part, they've never actually learned the skills to go get something that they want. The hotter they were, the less likely they have those skill sets. Men had to learn them because it was the only way for us to find someone. And so now you have a 40-year-old woman, very accomplished, very beautiful, very powerful, that has no freaking idea how to go get the kind of guy that she likes. And instead, it just sits there and waits for someone to approach her. And that person is probably not going to be as valuable as the person that she would have chose. And so developing those skill sets again, without making it seem like you're the aggressor or that you're pushy or anything like that, becomes another skill set as well too. Because if you're doing the choosing, you're going to have a much higher percentage of finding something that suits you. Boom.
Low clap. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. Yes, it's another skill set to be learned, how to go and get it in a feminine energy way, like
Yeah,
I would say.
totally.
Yes.
And there are ways to do it, completely ways to do it.
It's just a skill to learn, and it takes
because
practice.
yes, and because women sometimes are taught that everything they do in bed is great and they have all the feminine wiles to attract any man they want. And so saying these things in a way that is not going to trigger defenses or not pop their bubble is part of what it is too. Because I come from a place of building. If I want to teach you to duck, I can throw a brick at your face. You'll learn to duck.
Yes.
You might have a few broken teeth, but you got the lesson learned. That's not the way I like to approach things. I would like to, this is a brick. All right. Now I'm going to hit it on my head to show you how hard it is. And now we're going to learn how to avoid it. Because I want at the end, part of my job is to educate. The other part of my job is to a bit entertain, to get you back into that mindset again. Because if you don't like working out, if you hate the process, you're going to shut down and you're not going to do it. So you have to learn, train your brain to be okay with the process again, to look at put your carrot out there and be able to, work towards what it is you want to achieve. Because there's a thing, getting something you want involves work. If people want to lose weight, they make a plan, they change drastically things in their life, and they work hard at developing new skills. If you want to change your relationship status, you have to approach it in the same way. You have to make changes. You have to make choices. You have to stick to your guns. And if you do it intentionally, I can promise you the success rate is going to skyrocket.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was so encouraging. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Hans. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much appreciation I have for you and your generosity. You're such a fun, thoughtful guy. You're really, really somebody very special and very, very special in a good way. So I think we are good. It's 12:54. There is anything else you would like to say, or we just?
My gift and curse is that I can talk for 2 weeks solid without a breath. So I just got to learn to stop it at some point, and we'll have another discussion about the rest of everything.
Okay, so let me stop it and then stay with me because I think the video has to take a few minutes. Okay, don't leave me.
All right.
Let's stop it and.